And welcome back, footy fans, to another episode of Donnie's Disposals. I am your host, Coach Donnie Hess here, back with another AFL supporter series. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the ladies as we continue our run through some of the fantastic female footy fans of the AFL. And this particular episode, I cannot wait for because this is going to be a fun chat. I found this young lady on Instagram. She's an incredible follow. And the best part is she has one of the more unique stories that I'm going to sit down and talk with. I cannot wait. So joining me from Melbourne, joining me today, we have Gabby. Gabby, thank you for hopping on the podcast today.
Hello. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. Um, yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome, awesome. So before we get into the football, because I know we're going to talk Aussie rules, that is what this channel is about. But before we get into the footy, I like finding out just the littlest bit about the person that I'm sitting down and having a chat with. So if you don't mind, could you tell us a little bit about yourself outside of the game of football?
Sure, I'm originally from Brazil. I moved to Australia in 2014. Um, my first city was Brisbane. And fun fact, I didn't have any contact with AFL there because they're all about the NRL and all the sports. Um, Yeah, so outside of the footy, I do also like to watch other kinds of sports. I've been recently to the AO Australian Open. I generally go every year. It's pretty fun. Um, I'm so into concerts as well. Melbourne is a very live city. You always have these kind of things happening here, so much to do. But anyways, yeah, I moved to Australia in 2014 and have lived in other cities like Adelaide, Perth, and now I'm in Melbourne. And I could experience a lot of the footy culture and other sports as well. One of my main hobbies is obviously watching live sports, and I have also a regular job, Monday to Friday, just like every other normal person. I also love traveling, and I combine both hobbies, traveling and watching sports, which is pretty fun.
Yep. So I know we recently, before we figured this one out, you went and saw the F1, which I thought was really, really cool. So on to that.
Yeah.
But we are here to talk football. So before we get into kind of the story of how you found out, I gotta ask this. What is your favorite thing about the sport of Aussie rules football?
I'm Brazilian, and in Brazil, soccer is a big thing. Our football is soccer. I am actually don't even like calling it soccer because it's kind of strange, but yeah, it is what it is. But so in Brazil, we are very passionate about sports, about our team. We follow, we go to the games, and I tried to do this here in Australia. Tried to, find the sports that Australians like and adapt to the lifestyle. And obviously, I went to soccer game and I was a bit disappointed. It wasn't the same thing. It was like you don't have the crowd, you don't have the same energy. It is fun, but it's not the same. So I really wanted to experience something that you could have the atmosphere.
Hmm.
The real atmosphere where everyone is engaged and passionate about the sport and, you know, getting emotional and all that. So that was why I ended up following more the AFL in Australia than any other sport.
Hmm. That's fantastic. I love that, which it actually kind of is a great transition because I'm very interested on this because when I talk with international fans like myself or Americans or from different places, I like to ask them this question. What was your finding footy moment? Like when did you discover this amazing sport? And then
Mhm.
how did you kind of get wrapped up into becoming a fan of this amazing, different, odd sport that we now both love?
Yeah, it was purely by accident, of course, because I didn't even know about the existence of the AFL because I lived in Brisbane for a year, like my first year. So they would talk about the Broncos, NRL, and sometimes about the cricket. So the
Hmm.
big things were these two. And I did give it a try to both. And it didn't really get me, I said, no, I don't
Hmm.
think it is for me. Um, but when I moved to Adelaide, there was a girl who used to work at the Adelaide Oval, and she had free tickets. And then she went like, "Oh, do you want to watch footy. I think she said something like that. Do you want to watch the footy? It's just for free. It's like, oh no, I'm fine. I don't like rugby. And she went, no, this is not rugby. This is the AFL. It's a different sport. It's a lot more fun. You're gonna see it. And also she added in the end, it's not the great team, the big team, the best is the Crows. But you can try this one just for fun. And then later when I have for the Crows game, I'll give you the ticket as well. And I said, okay, fine. And then I got it. I got the ticket. It was for Adelaide v Richmond at Adelaide Oval. And my experience was really good because when I went there, I was in this area where I'd never been before. It was a huge stadium. And for me, it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I was sitting there and there was like a lot of empty spaces. It was a pretty cold day, 1st of July, very in the middle
Mhm.
of winter. And as you know, it starts raining out of the blue. And then there was this nice lady, old lady, and she saw me in the rain. She came, she gave me a poncho and she asked my name and she started talking to me. And I said, I don't know what's going on in this game. And she was, no, I'll tell you everything. And then she was so welcoming, so warm that I felt like, wow, this is pretty cool. Because I wasn't expecting that. Like when you're new, especially from a different culture, you always expect the same things that people would say, oh, Australians are not that warm. They're not very, open.
Mhm.
I don't think so. So especially in sports. And then she asked me, like, oh, where are you from? And all that. And then, okay, please explain to me what is this? Why is this? I was in shock because it was like, wow, is this allowed? Oh my God, where's the red card? I was just like, what is this? This is full on. How many players do we have? Who are those people in pink running in the field? What is going on? And then she was like explaining everything. Obviously, I didn't get everything at once.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I don't even remember her name.
Mhm.
Well, maybe we met again and I didn't know it was her and she didn't know it was me. But anyways, it was like that. I felt so welcome. And the main thing was when the song was on, like she said, now you grab your scarf. And then I didn't have a scarf. I didn't even know about scarves. And then she just gave me her scarf. And then you put your scarves up. And then you sing along. You sing what? Listen to this. And then Never Tear Us Apart came. And then
Mhm.
everyone singing the song. And I was like, this is awesome. I really like that. And the suddenly became very crowded. It was like probably because I arrived too early, but I was lucky enough to meet her. But the rain got really bad. Not even a poncho was holding on, So I had to go to, a covered area to continue till the end. But yeah, well, this is the thing. This was the thing that made me stay and watch the footage. So I think I found my people, I think I
Mhm.
found my place. So it was really amazing the way I met this lady and later on other people watching the footy in Adelaide. I was, freshly, I just pretty much moved to Adelaide in that time. It was in probably in January. I moved to Adelaide in January 16 to attend uni. Yeah. So it was
Mhm.
pretty good. And I ended up getting also another ticket for the big team Crows. And you know what? I didn't like it. Turns out I became a Power fan. So my experience was not really even close to this. It was pretty much the opposite. Like I didn't feel welcome in a way. No, 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 not that I didn't feel welcome. It's not personal. It was just like
Mhm.
my experience was very different.
Mhm.
I felt like they were like that was the opposite. It was crowded, too many people drinking and throwing beers all up. And yeah, I think I'll stick with the Port Adelaide smaller crowd. I think I like that. So yeah.
Absolutely love it. And as we've kind of brought into it, those the watching on the YouTube, and by that explanation for those that are listening on the podcast, as you can tell, Gabby is a Port Adelaide supporter, a power supporter. But so you answered the next question, like I said. So what was the club that you support? So I'm going to do one quick question without notice here. How cool now is it to have that tradition of never singing "Never Tear Us Apart" for Port Adelaide for Port Adelaide home games?
It is an amazing experience. Some people even make fun of it, but you know what? It's because they don't have the same passion. I found out that they're kind of jealous because they don't have the same thing. Because, like, side note, I follow Liverpool Football Club,
Hmm.
and they also have that song, You
Yeah.
Never Walk Alone. And I felt that very, what? I could
Similar. Yeah.
relate to it. Yes. So that was what I was looking for. And this song was pretty much the catchy moment for me. Like it was like, wow, I really love that. And till today, we always sing with passion. And even the players, I'm sure they love it. They love to see the crowd singing with so much passion. And we even have a special scarf that has I have it here. Let me see. This one never tears apart.
Hmm.
That's
I
where you
love
put it
it.
up. This is
Yep.
a very rare one, though. You don't find it anymore. Apparently, copyrights stop them from making it because I
Whoopsie.
think this yeah. So if you bought it, you bought it. There are stories of people who even lost theirs and they cry until today. They can't find it anymore to buy. They became a rare thing, and I'm very happy to have it.
Hmm.
So yeah, yeah, we show our passion when we sing this song because it means a lot about how we love the club and how we love to be there and supporting them.
Yeah, it's fantastic. One of the cool things is being able to watch that and 100% with you on that one as a fellow football fan, the world football, and I'm also a Celtic supporter. So just like Liverpool, they sing "You'll Never Walk Alone," is which I always think, I thought is fascinating.
Yeah.
So I want to do this because this is fun because again, being Brazilian. Sometimes it's big families. I must ask, have you tried to convert any of your family members to be Port Adelaide supporters?
No, they love football, Brazilian football. They into no,
Hmm.
they don't even care about it. They don't care. They don't care. No, no, no. They so happy with the, FIFA World Cups coming soon.
Hmm.
That's all they talk about. They don't really get this idea of rugby. No, it's not rugby. No, they forget it. They call it rugby. So no, but my friends, oh yes, definitely. Even
Hmm.
especially my time, because I lived in Perth for 5 years, and when I was there, I was part of the official supporters away. I mean, in
Hmm.
WA,
The
and
ladies, yeah.
I have a godson there. Mother is Brazilian, dad is Turkish, and I just buy everything Port Adelaide related. I don't care if they are in Perth or not. I don't care. So my friends, you're coming with me to the game. You're gonna wear my scarf. There is
Hmm.
no negotiation unless they already have the team.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's kind of hard. I don't like going down that road like, making people just change their teams. Not quite,
Hmm.
but bringing them in, recruiting new ones, yes. I don't really try to make people change their teams because I don't like when they try to do this to me. So, like, I've lived in 3 different cities.
Hmm.
Everyone is trying like, oh, now you live in Perth. You gotta be Fremantle or West Coast. He goes, no, I don't.
Hmm.
No, I
Yep,
don't.
you have
So
your team.
it's just,
You have your team
yeah,
and you're loyal. Nothing wrong. Absolutely
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
nothing
yeah,
wrong with that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Till the day
No.
you die.
Yep, definitely. I know that's one of the things that I joke about sometimes as family and friends. Like you try to get them on the band, you try to get them on the bandwagon, but no, 100% on that one. So we've done through the international. So I got to ask. So you're in Adelaide, you have this great experience, such a warm welcoming. Can you remember the first Port Adelaide item that you were ever given or bought?
Do you wanna guess?
I
Yeah,
probably
it's
bet it's
here.
that punch. Yep. Awesome.
From the time it
Absolutely
was
love it.
power.
Yep.
So this was my very first one. Also
Hmm.
for me, it's just like rare because n now it's called retro.
Hmm.
Oh my God, it's called retro now because we have a different logo. So in
Yep.
that time, it was this logo here, power,
Hmm.
with a little thunder.
Yep. With the Thunderbolt. Yep.
And yeah, and then this is the new one,
Yep.
so they have changed. So things change, scarves change. I probably have a collection of over 20 at the moment because I also started buying the AFLW, even though I don't go much to the games. I like to support them. But yeah, definitely that. And also beanies,
Hmm.
uh, hats, tops, like that. This
Yep.
is like an American football kind of thing, college football, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, so every time they launch something, I was, "Oh, I wanna buy it." Yeah, probably I have quite too much. I would say too much. But the first one is definitely the scarf. The lady there, she said, "You gotta buy a scarf," and yeah, I did it in the end. I had to do
Love
it.
it.
Yeah,
Absolutely
definitely.
love it. So you have a whole section of your wardrobe that's nothing but black and teal. So
One whole section. No, no, that's pink as well. They
oh
have a
yes,
lot of
pink. Yep.
pink.
Yep.
There's gray. No, there's everything, really.
Yep.
All the colors, but mostly, of course, these
Yep.
standard colors here.
Yep. The teal and black. Absolutely
Yeah.
love it. So I'm fascinated because as you said, you're Brazilian, so there's the passion of the world game football. And for me, fandom is something I think is one of the most fascinating things in the world is being a fan of a sport or a team because not everybody is the same. Everybody fans differently. Some people, they live and they breathe. Everything is about when their team plays. There's nothing else that goes on. If their team loses, it could be the worst thing. So I always love asking this question. Can you describe your fandom of the Port Adelaide Football Club to me?
Mm, what I would say is just, um, I pretty much see them as people in first place. You know, they all humans, players, coaches. Um, I have like a group of people that I watch the footy with at the stadiums. Some get very emotional, some get very angry. I am very controlled person, but inside sometimes I'm dying, but I don't miss a moment of it. What I would say is just it because I'm always with other people that have different reactions.
Hmm.
I think it makes me feel like I need to be the most normal here. And then I just try to hold on. But sometimes I can't. It's just really, sometimes
Hmm.
it's very frustrating. But I, at the end of the day, always remember, come on, those are people, especially when I actually try to kick the ball. So
Hmm.
I try to remember how hard the game is before I get too angry. But there are moments that I forget everything. There are
Hmm.
moments that I want to abandon this game, but I never do. I stay to, I'm the kind that I can have like the worst game of my life. Probably the worst is when I lose a showdown to the Crows. Is the
Hmm.
worst. I actually don't even like showdowns. I'm just there because it gets too much, too intense.
Hmm.
But I go anyways, and whenever I can. But yeah, I stay until the end. Some people abandon the game because they can't watch it. You know, like it's getting too hard to watch. Like, well, sometimes the team's playing pretty bad. Um, but yeah, no matter how they play, I'm staying there, even if it's to cry. In the end, I don't cry. I'm joking, but but sometimes I feel like crying. But as I said, I'm pretty good holding off my, my emotions, and yeah, I think other people around me are more intense, showing their emotions, and I feel like I'm more controlled person because every time I feel like screaming or something, and I'll remember, come on, it's just a game. Remember, it's just a game. I try to feed myself with some controlled thoughts. Oh, it's just a game. Next game's gonna be better. When it's like, but when they win, forget it. It is
Hmm.
just the best time. Like, oh my God, like I remember probably the best year was 2023. Um, was we had so many wins in a row. I think it was 13 or 14 games in a row, winning without any losses. And I could see like we have a winning team. It's gonna be this year. It's gonna be this year. So it is something like that. Even though I've seen, because there is like even a joke saying, Port Adelaide, they always choke in the end. They always choke because we nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. We never go to the grand final. I always believe, you have to be a believer.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I like being around every kind of person. The way they show their emotions. Some swear a lot. I don't care. Some just scream. Some like get out, get drinks because they can't watch, or no, I need a coffee because otherwise I'm gonna fall asleep because this game is too boring or whatever. But I love that
Hmm.
the atmosphere that it's composed by the supporters. It's not
Hmm.
only about the game. Um, but yeah, I can be a bit quite a good supporter in a way that I stay there till the end. I try to remember they are only humans, in the end at the end of the day, and they can do better next time. And yeah, yeah,
It's never that they're not trying. I know that it's one thing that I always kind of get on some fans about. It's like never say that a player's not trying. Trust me, they're trying. Sometimes it's just the way things turned out, it makes it look like they aren't. So one of the biggest things with this particular series, this particular year is that I'm talking with female fans because I'm a bloke. Again, I will never know what it's like to be a female fan. So I really want to kind of discuss just a couple of things really quickly about the experience. So I'm going to ask you, Gabby, as a female fan, do you feel that you're treated just the tiniest bit different than your male counterparts?
not really. No, this is something that actually helped me to stay and follow Port Adelaide and the AFL itself, because sometimes I do go to other games as well, especially being here in Melbourne. Um, no, not at all. Like, for example, in Brazil, you do have to be careful where you go, the time you go, with who you're hanging out, which kind of game. This is another thing. A big
Mm-hmm.
derby here, you don't have to fear anything. Obviously, there will always be some nonsense like people
Mm-hmm.
arguing or whatever, throwing beers here and there. Um, but there is no violence, for example. It's something that makes you feel very comfortable. And again, there are old ladies, there are like grannies, grandchildren, parents, babies. They bring babies, it's just, it feels very comfortable. And I don't feel treated different, not at all. But the contrary, they show how welcome you are. It doesn't matter. Everyone is welcome. And
Mm-hmm.
I would say that about every club. I would say about the AFL itself, not about Port Adelaide, because I've been to other games, I've been to other experiences. So I can tell you that it is really good.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And I like that. And then to go off that is that say I have a female fan that's a huge Port Adelaide supporter, and if you could just give them a bit of advice of how to enjoy the game experience on the ground, like how do you enjoy and what would be your advice to a female fan that maybe is a little leery because they have heard some horror stories about being mistreated?
Okay. Oh, it's a shame if they have. I'm sure that you can always give it a second chance. Sometimes you're just in the wrong place, the wrong time. It can happen. But try to go after the local supporters, how do you call it, community,
Mhm.
because sometimes they have like Facebook groups or WhatsApp groups, and they get together before the game. Sometimes they meet up at pubs, and they say, oh, let's buy tickets in this section, and then you start hanging out with people that you're gonna connect with, and then you're gonna feel safer if this is the fear that you have. And then it starts from, simple games. Like I went to a game, Port Adelaide v Richmond, in a random
Mhm.
day. It was not like a special game. It wasn't anything, you know, you gotta win. And like
Mhm.
maybe if it is not a very intense game, it's the best to start with.
Mhm.
Don't go to a showdown to start. Maybe if you don't, if you're not used to it, just try to go to a different kind of game, just an, round 10, whatever, mid-season.
Mhm.
Um, and try that because they are very, very open. I'm sure every club has their own, group that
Mhm.
get together. They become like a small family in there,
Mhm.
So then you can feel more like, more safe. I don't know. Maybe this is one thing that you could do. Sometimes just going with a friend that is not familiar with anything, it's also can be a bit, overwhelming. But when you have people that are there every day, they know everything. They know the best places to sit and watch the game. and then they can walk you through it, and they can make you see the best that the game can bring to you, that the sport has. I think this would be a good idea because for me, it was definitely because of people.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. It's absolutely fantastic. And like I said, it's one of those that I know when I go down there, there's so many supporter groups that have already reached out and been like, hey, if you come, and so I'm
Yeah.
100% with you. Is that if you can find fellow people that support your club and you have that little group around you, I think it makes the atmosphere that much more fun. So we'll jump to it. My next question is usually first ever game you attended, but you told us about the rain game going to see Port Adelaide versus Richmond. So I'm going to jump to the next question because this is one of my favorites because I always love it. And Port Adelaide has a rich history, not just in the AFL, but also the Sandful years of the Port Adelaide Magpies. So I'll ask you this: do you have a favorite player at the club from the past, previous to your starting? And then do you have a favorite player currently on the Port Adelaide list?
Um, Previous to us, I've been, it's been
Hmm.
nearly a decade. So I have past player, obviously, Robbie Gray. Robbie Gray, for me,
Hmm.
he was the greatest of all time. But when I started following the club, obviously the superstars that everyone loved were Robbie Gray, Charlie Dixon, and Travis Boak. And they are all past now. So I could mention all three,
Hmm.
but Robbie Gray, I would say the best ever. Currently, Zach Butters, definitely Zach Butters. He's fantastic. I think there is not one person that cannot agree with me. Everyone wants him at the moment. He's the most wanted, I would say. Everybody wants Zach Butters in their club.
Hmm.
And he's also a very nice guy as well. Very good example for kids. Very good personality, and yeah, so it's great to watch him play. It's just like I would say, like, I'm so happy to be alive in this generation to see these people playing, these guys playing, not
Hmm.
only in Port Adelaide. I'm not gonna talk about other clubs because I prefer my boys, but yeah, I'm very happy to see what I see these days, and these are the names that I will never forget. It is the things they do, it will be in the history forever.
No, 100% on that one. So, and then my next question, I'm looking forward to this because as you said, you have over a decade, so you've had some pretty memorable moments. So I'll ask this: what is your most memorable moment so far as a Port Adelaide supporter?
Yes, okay. So this game, it was about Houston. Unfortunately, Houston is not anymore a port. I was so
Mhm.
sad to see him go, especially Collingwood, please. Come on. Could have been any club. Could have been any club, but it was fun fact, it was also in the 1st of July because my first game was 1st of July
Mhm.
2016. So I'm nearly 10 years following Port.
Mhm.
And it was also 1st of July, but I think it was 23 at the G, and he kicked a goal after the siren v
Mhm.
Essendon.
Mhm.
What round was that? I think it was 16, round
16 or
16.
17, it was right in there. Yep. So,
And I was behind the goal. I was like, oh my God, that was the moment of my life. I could think about others. There was like instances in the SCG as well. There was a game, I think it was with Sydney, obviously.
yep.
It was Sydney Swans, where I literally saved the day.
Yep,
There was
Ali earlier
another
on the
one that
goal
was
line. Trust me, that was as a
insane.
Swan supporter, one of
Yes,
one of those memories I wish I could beseech from my mind. But again, for him to save it on the goal line, to keep it out, and for
yes.
Port Adelaide to win it late, it's
That was
yep.
amazing. Being
Hmm.
there and what it was like fantastic. But that goal, Houston, my
Hmm.
God. Seriously, tell me something better than that. I can't. I can't think about anything better than that.
Yep.
It was just because honestly, I didn't believe it. I didn't think he would make it. But if you even go back and watch it again, you're gonna see Ken Hinckley smiling because
Hmm.
now I know what he's going to do now. So he knew his boys better than anyone. I wasn't expecting that to be a goal at all. And it was. So it was fantastic. And the crowd, and that's why I'm saying never abandon a game. Many people
Hmm.
left, many people left before that amazing goal. Well, too good for the Essendon supporters who left, so they didn't see that damage. But for Port Adelaide supporters who left that game, they will regret for the rest of their lives. First, because it was like the moment of the year, probably the goal of the year for us, and it won't happen again because it doesn't play for Port anymore.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it was amazing for
Unfortunately.
me.
Yeah, but and the
Mm,
other thing too is that the ball was waterlogged too because it had been raining, so it makes it even more impressive because he kicks a waterlogged ball that's probably just the littlest bit heavier, and it was at least 50-meter goal. So that was, yeah, 100%. That's
yes,
one. It's hard to
it was a
miss.
bomb, but 12 games without a loss in a row.
Yeah, so what an impressive list on that. So now
Yeah.
we as I know we're getting closer and closer to this next season, but I want you to kind of rewind back to last year, and I want to know, tell me, as the fan that you are, what were your thoughts on last year's Port Adelaide men's season?
Yeah, he wasn't the greatest. Like, well, everybody knows, like even the players when they would go to press conferences and everything, they felt a lot. I think Ken Hinckley leaving the club affected a lot. And we also had a lot of injuries. But okay, other clubs also had all their injuries. So that's not just use these as an explanation because I don't call it excuse, I call it
Hmm.
explanation. So I think the feeling of having the changes already happening in the coaching, you know. So they were so used to have Ken Hinckley, even though I know that Josh Carr has been there for a while now. It's not easy, you know. It's a change. It's just like if you relate to it, like I can relate. Like when I have a new manager, it's never the same, you know. You feel it, and then that situation, they were already short-handed, I would say. Like they didn't have the full house. They key players were injured, and also we had we already had this feeling that Travis Polk was going to retire as well. It was kind of obvious. We could see that coming. So I think when you have these many changes, the club feels it, like the players feel it. And also, there's always the human factor. Remember, they are people. You don't know what they're going through in their lives.
Hmm.
Maybe it was a year that everyone was going through something different, you know, something not really great. Every time you come back from injury, you rarely become the same straight away. Some never recover. Um, you can see, for example, Alirali, he was lucky to recover so well, but still he's not really what he was in 2021, for example.
Hmm.
So every time you have an injury, surgery, imagine how it affects your mind as well. I'm coming back there. Oh my God, what if I, have an impact? And you always have to remember the human factor. So I think like they are very young as well. Many of them are very young team. Next year, oh my God, it's gonna be even. I mean, this
Hmm.
year, next season. Um, yeah. So I think all of these things affected negatively the club. Um, Yeah, so I can understand. You was sad to watch that, but it was kind of expected. And yeah, when we talk about next season, I can continue to say from this point on. But it's okay. Like I think every club goes through it, like Port Adelaide's been playing amazingly. We had a winning team for about 5 years, I would say. No, 4 years. I think since 2020, we could have won a flag,
Hmm.
but we didn't make it. So now it's going to be very tricky.
Definitely going to be interesting on that. So, and
Mm.
then as once the season ends, we hit the off season. Are you one of those that you keep an eye on the off season moves and then kind of what's happened? Or are you one of those that you're really only focused on once the season gets started, and then once the grand final's over, you kind of take a break from the football?
No, I am not really intense when it's the off season, but I do see the changes.
Hmm.
I do see the draft picks, and it was not really great to see what Port Adelaide passed this year. So I really don't know what they're doing. I hope they know because
Hmm.
I am not a specialist. I cannot judge them. But seriously, I don't know what to say. Like you don't need to be a specialist to see how. crazy their choices are being made. And we had so many delisted players. I think some had talent and they should have a second chance, but well, again, they are the specialists, not me. I'm just the supporter. Some of them, I think they should have stayed. They should have given them a second chance. And the new ones that they have, for example, Will Brody, they are counting on a guy that was playing the waffle. I think that he was not getting a game with the Dockers for over a year or more. I don't know. He's got talent, but I don't know really. I don't know.
Mhm.
Like we already, to be honest, our strongest is the midfield. So we should be focusing on the Rookman, the forward line. I don't see really how we're gonna survive this next season with this. But let's count on Josh Carr. He's experienced as well. Obviously not as a senior coach, but if he was assigned to it because he can do the job, and we hope for the best. And again, like it's just a new phase that every club goes through. You have a lot of changes. You have new faces, young, very young. So it's gonna be new coach, very young players. Yeah, so they're gonna have to mature a bit. So it's gonna take some time for them to get to the point of being a winning team. It's not gonna be 2026 for sure.
Mhm. So, and okay, which is you kind of I love that and I love that answer, but it kind of puts me in a little bit of a fun here because my next question is that for the next year, what are your thoughts on that? And as you said, you kind of brought into it. So I'm gonna kind of question without notice with this is that do you think Josh Carr was a good hire, or is it still kind of one of those where you're looking at it going, let's see what type of football he brings next year?
Oh, well, he's an icon at Port Adelaide, which helps a lot. He's been close to the players. He learned a lot from Ken Hinckley. I'm sure he's going to apply a lot of things that he thinks it's a good thing to be applied. But there will be changes because everyone is different. You cannot have a Ken Hinckley number two.
Hmm.
You won't. And sometimes you need a change. Like we were doing amazing, but we didn't win a flag. So it was what, 15 years under Ken Hinckley, 13, 14, I think 14 years. He did an amazing job. He's gonna be very missed a lot. Like I felt it. Everyone is feeling it was a very emotional year of 2025, seeing him retiring, and also Travis Polk because he was not only a player, he was a lot more things. He
Hmm.
was um, a mentor for the other players. So he was so experienced in so many things, and he was adding so much to the club. He was another loss. He was kind of losing an assistant coach, in my opinion. I
Hmm.
wish he could have stayed as in like had a job offer as an assistant coach or something, but he's going to Carlton, as per what I
Hmm.
heard. Um, but anyways, I don't know if he's the best. If he's not, who is? You know what
Hmm.
I mean? So I think they did the right choice. Ken Hinckley didn't want to stay as well. So it was he wanted to go. He didn't want to continue. And then when you need a change, you just let the change happen. So when the change happens, then we can have our thoughts, we can have our judgments. For now, I don't have anything to say.
Hmm.
He's a he won the premiership in 2004. He was an amazing player. He has experience as assistant coach. He learned a lot from Ken Hinckley. And it's gonna be challenging for him as well. He's gonna have a whole new team, except for the midfielders, I would say, like that we have in the sum of defense. Many of the players will be very young and very inexperienced. Um, so it's gonna be a challenge for him. Even I don't think we're gonna do very well to start because it's too hard when everything's so new. But it won't be him to be blamed. I won't blame the coach. It is just the whole team. It's a whole team job. Like he doesn't, he cannot make like Ken Hinkley, for example. He's fantastic, amazing, and yet the team couldn't make to the grand final. So it's just like you count on the players to do what you teach them.
Hmm.
So it's about many other factors, as I said, like so many personal things going on and Um, let's just hope for the best, really. I just hope for the best, but I know that it won't be pretty. It will be a
Mhm.
very hard and challenging 2026 season. And if you really want to know, I think we'll probably be at the bottom four.
Mm. Well,
I believe that we're gonna be there.
I will touch wood and hope that you're overselling that. Hopefully it's not that bad. I really really do, right? But we'll have to
Yeah,
see
me
again.
too. Me too. I
Unfortunately
will.
there's always going to be a wooden spooner. There's always going to be a bottom four side. I don't wish it upon anyone. So, but
Yeah,
but
I
I
will be
mean
at
yeah.
every game watching and cheering for them. I want them to win. I want to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be wrong.
Yep.
I don't want to
You
be
want
right.
to eat crow as the old saying goes. So
Yes.
we'll step away from we'll step away from hopefully a prediction that hopefully may not come true. And we'll go to this. I want to have some fun because I know up here in the States, a lot of people act like they know everything about sport, that if they had the job that the general manager or the list manager down in Australia, as they call, they could do a better job. So I'm going to have a little bit of fun here. I'm going to do the fun where I am going to install you as the list manager for the men's side for 1 day. The rule is that all of the other 17 clubs, you can take one player, doesn't matter who, one player from the entire competition to join Port Adelaide for next season to maybe help Josh Carr bounce Port Adelaide up the ladder and hopefully make sure that your prediction doesn't come true. Who would be that one player you would bring to Port Adelaide and why?
Jeremy Cameron.
I love
We need
it.
goals. We need
Yep.
goals. We need goals. I like one of the failures of our team. Unfortunately, we had great games, but we couldn't kick goals.
Hmm.
So we need goals. Like we need someone, please kick a goal for us. And he can kick so many. Stop kicking goals for Geelong. Really, they don't need it anymore. They don't need it. No, I wish I could have him. Really,
Hmm.
he's fantastic. I
Yeah,
think he
he's
would be such a
yeah,
yeah in my dreams. Yeah,
yeah.
in my dreams. Yes, definitely.
To be honest with you, I don't think there's a single club in the competition that wouldn't take him. So you are not going too far on that one. I'm 100% with you. So we discussed it a little bit earlier. As most people that follow the podcast know, I am a huge supporter of the W and of women's football. And as you kind of said earlier, you're not as avid in the women's space. So I will ask you this. Is there anything that the women's competition can do to make you much more interested in it? Or is it just one of those that just the time frame when it comes to that's the reason why you're not as invested as in the women's side as it is the men's?
Yeah, that's the reason. It's just too busy. They start, I think, in August.
Yep.
The AFL men's season is not yet done, so
No.
it's quite hard to catch up. Even though I went to the very first game of Port Adelaide in Perth, the
Hmm.
very first game that they have, that it was awesome. It was really good to be part of it. It was like a moment in history. Aaron Phillips was yet still playing. He was so good. I wish I could go to more games, of course, but it's just kind of hard to put in your agenda. It's very hard, and there's not many games either. It's just a lot shorter
Hmm.
than men's season. But yeah, when I have a chance, I definitely watch it. And obviously Port Adelaide. And before I didn't really look at AFLW before Port Adelaide joined because I wasn't really interested in watching other clubs. So since Port Adelaide had a team and joined, I started watching little bits of it, but I'm still not yet very engaged. It's kind
Hmm.
of hard. Yeah.
Yep. No, I get it, and it is one of those that it's a weird competition. Plus, you also looked at it as there for a while. It was in January and February, which for some people it was kind of the pre-build into the men's season. And now that they've shifted it back towards that late towards the early spring, it's become a little bit of an issue. But no, I will sit here and say this: when you get a chance, you have some incredibly good, talented players on your Port Adelaide side. Matilda Scholes, your
Matilda
ruckman,
shows my
is
favorite now. I
absolutely
love and her
incredible.
personality. Oh my
Oh,
God, it's not
yes.
only that, she has an amazing personality because I
Yep.
follow her on social media
Yep.
and it's so good to watch it. Like
Yep.
I haven't had the chance to really follow every game, but obviously you can see how talented she is. She's probably, but after Erin Phillips, she's my favorite.
Yep. Now she's good. There's another one of your youngsters that I think we've only scratched the surface of how good she is. Lauren Young is another one. Piper Window, Molly Brooksby, Shanae Goody, who I watched play in the Sandford in the Sandford W, along with several of those. You have some incredibly young, talented players on this Port Adelaide list that if you get a chance, they're definitely. I think in the next 3 years, I think Port Adelaide could become quite a dangerous side if they continue to stack the talent that they have been. But no, so I will never force anybody to watch it. I've fallen in love with some of these girls because I think some of these girls are incredible footballers. And especially Port Adelaide is one of the ones I love keeping track of because I've seen so many of them come through the state leagues. And I think they're a fun team. So if I could say it is they're definitely worth a watch because I think they're super exciting and there's a lot of growth on this Port Adelaide side that I think is going to be fun to watch over the next 3 seasons. They could be quite a very good team because they'll all mature around the same age. So it'll be fun to watch on that. So we're getting close to the end, and I like to have some fun with this. And I'm very interested as a non-native Australian, I will ask this question is Americans, we love food at the footy. So when I come down and I really want to get down to Australia sometime soon, have not been, I want to be prepared. So when I go to the football, I want to enjoy the experience. So when you go to the footy, what is your go-to food at the football?
Look, but I'm gonna be very, very honest with you.
That's
When I
fine.
go to the stadium, I am focused on the game. I don't want to miss a moment. I generally avoid even drinking because when I drink a lot, I have to go to the bathroom. And
Hmm.
then when I have to buy food, it is a big line as well. So sometimes I get food. I'll tell you in a minute. But generally, I don't go there for the food. But when I
Hmm.
feel like peckish, I kind of need a snack or something. It also depends on the stadium, okay? Because every stadium has its own thing. For example, Adelaide Oval, you can even get a curry chicken. You can
Hmm.
have like butter chicken and rice, or you can have a meat pie, or you can have ice cream, donuts. So in my case, I'm a sweet tooth. I
Hmm.
would go for donuts and sometimes coffee, depending on the temperature, because it's a winter game.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to warm up and you want to drink something. And I thought, I don't want to drink anything that's going to make me go to the bathroom or something like that. So I just go for like a nice coffee because especially Melbourne is the place for coffee. I don't know if you heard of that, but they're very
Hmm.
snobs here. They have,
Very much so.
mm-hmm.
Heard it, we've heard
So
it way too often.
a good, like the line for the barista coffee at the stadium, it's massive in winter. It's just crazy. You're really competing there side by side with the beer line. So really, and I just go for donuts. Really, I don't think it's a favorite thing for Australians, the donuts, but it
Hmm.
is for me.
Yep.
It is for me. But I would say that the number one snack's definitely the meat pie. I've already had that, but it didn't really get me. I think it's a
Hmm.
very simple snack, but it is a thing for him. They love it. You have to try. Like when I go to a grand final, for example,
Hmm.
it is the go-to. You have to have a pie at a grand final because you feel so Australian.
Yep. 100%, 100% on that one. So, all
Yeah.
right. And then the other thing when it comes to watching the game is the seat, is the place that you get to watch the game. So, when you go to the footy, where is your ideal place to sit when you go to the football?
Also, again, depends on the stadium because I
Hmm.
travel to watch the games. I go to away games and home games. I'll call home games, even though I'm in Melbourne, I call home games Adelaide Oval. Honestly, you cannot have a bad seat there. Even on the hill where you don't have a seat, you can stand and watch. I can be biased. maybe can ask someone else to confirm that. But it's one of the best stadiums to watch a game. Really, you
Mhm.
have amazing views there. But I generally go to level 3 on the south gate. So I think it's pretty good there. And it's close to an area where we have access to good bathrooms and quick bars. So I
Mhm.
like that. Other stadiums, it depends. Like SCG is probably one of my least favorites. It's just I don't know, it's a bit strange. Some like when you go with Cheese Squad, for example, they have a very bad view where they generally are located on level 1. I would say like somewhere on level 2, 3 would be better. Um, at the G, I think it's the same. Like you cannot have a bad view at the G. It's
Mhm.
really good. But I generally go because it's considered an away game, right? So I just go to the area where it's kind of behind the goals with the away team, like Port, just behind where the cheese squad sits, and like they have their section, and just they generally go to the back section where the cheese squad is, so you can have more,
Mhm.
more people, your people
Yep.
next to you to watch the game. Yeah, but I think it varies from stadium to stadium.
Mhm. Yeah, each one has different sight lines and everything like that. That's one of the things. If
Mm,
I want to go to, I would love to get to Adelaide and see a game on the hill, even though I've told sometimes it's not always easy to watch the footy on the hill, but it's an experience and a half. So, and then I always end my podcasts, especially this was, I love this question because I'm getting all sorts of different answers and I've started kind of a playlist of all the games. So I know you haven't had as many years as some of the people that I listen to, but I'm still fascinated on this. What is the favorite game of football you have ever seen? Live, on the telly, at the ground, men's, women's, doesn't matter. What is your favorite game of football you have ever seen?
definitely my first grand final. It wasn't Port, unfortunately, but it was so good because it was a very unique game. It was held in Perth because of
Hmm.
COVID. It's gonna be in history. Like I was there, like being there at a game that was supposed to be at the G, and for some, crazy circumstances, there was the pandemic.
Hmm.
I ended up at the grand final, and I saw Melbourne winning after 50 years without a premiership. It was a fantastic game, really. It
Hmm.
was for me, it was my favorite because since then I said I am not gonna miss out a grand final. It doesn't matter who's playing.
Hmm.
And I've been going to all of them except for the 24 grand final. I've been to all of them since. So it's been, I think that was the best. It was the feeling like, oh my God, I'm a grand final.
Hmm.
And it's not even at the MCG. It is just like a unique game. It's something that everybody's gonna talk about. Like when I'm dead, somebody's gonna talk about this, and I was there. I was part of this. So
Hmm.
for me, it was my favorite moment, and it will always be.
Yep.
And
Oh,
I was so jealous. I wish it was Port. We had a chance on that year. We had. I'm
yeah.
telling you,
Darn
we
Western
we lost.
Bulldogs.
Oh my God. It was like, I think 2020 was, I think it was Richmond, wasn't it?
Well, that was the one that was up in the GABA because that you had Richmond Geelong in 2020, and then 2021 was Melbourne Western Bulldogs in Perth, which is the one that you
Oh
went
yeah.
to. So yeah, there was the only two grand finals played outside of Victoria since, oh, I can't even remember. I
I
think
think it
that,
was,
yeah.
yeah, 21.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely insane. No, that's you have some history that
It
I
was the
don't.
Bulldogs. Yes.
Yep,
Oh
yep,
my God. I
yep,
remember now.
yep.
Oh, don't remind
Bulldogs
me there.
Melbourne, because Bulldogs
Yes.
actually, because there was a while there I thought Melbourne was going to get blown out, and then they absolutely steamrolled the Western Bulldogs in the second half. It was absolutely insane. No, so, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're part of history. I mean, it's this crazy thing, the first ever, the only, and may only be the ever Western Australian Grand Final, and you had that
Yeah.
opportunity to be there. That is absolutely fantastic. Well, Gabby, that is all. That is all my questions. All I'm through. This has been a fantastic chat. I mean, I know most of the rest of my chats have been with native Australians, so I thought this was a really cool experience because you are such an avid Port Adelaide supporter. When I saw you on Instagram, so that's the reason, one of the reasons that I reached out. This has been a fantastic chat. Thank you so much for sitting down and giving me some of your time today.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to always talk about my club. I love it. Um, and yeah, I'm like, even though I moved here over like 12 years ago,
Mhm,
I would never be fully Australian. I'm half half. Like I'm
mhm,
Australian, but I'm still very Brazilian. So this is what makes it very interesting. It's like you learn new cultures,
mhm,
you blend in and you feel so welcome. That's what I love about the AFL. I think if people had different experiences, if they didn't have a great experience in the beginning, they should give it a second chance. Find your local supporters group. They are always very nice. I'm sure that every club has one, and give it a try again because it's very worth it. It's
mhm.
really good.
Yeah,
Thank you
100.
for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it was fantastic to chat with you, and I love hearing your story, and it's been incredible. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this episode of Donnie's Disposals. Again, keep an eye out. Hopefully, I should have some more before we get to the end of the season, before we get to the end of the off season and get to the men's season. Holy crap! I'm sitting here recording it, we are less than a month away from the first game of the season. Ball up between Sydney and Carlton. I cannot wait. So many things. I know the State of Origin game is literally a week away from when I'm recording here. Some other things. Hopefully, as per usual, we should have the league fantasy draft with the American footy guys up here with all the podcasters and friends that I have. So plenty of things still to come on the channel. Keep an eye out. And that is going to do it for this episode. And we will be back with more footy coverage very, very soon.